Wir haben Besuch aus Wales. 33 Jahre ist er alt und wurde 2008 BDO Weltmeister. Aktuell steht er auf Weltranglistenplatz Nummer 23. Die Rede ist von The Spider, Mark Webster. Mark Webster tritt an gegen den World Youth Champion aus dem Jahre 2013. Einer der erfolgreichsten Spieler auf der European Tour mit 3 Titeln, die aktuelle Nummer 9 der Welt. Herzlich willkommen dem Bully Boy M.Smith.
Well, a demolition job to start the evening off from Dave Chisnell here at the Happy Bet German Darts Championship. Did not drop a leg against Peter Hudson. M.Smith versus Mark Webster. You would expect this to be a little bit closer, though. All right, girls, don't build your part. M.Smith, 3-time Euro Tour winner versus former world champion from the Lakeside, Mark Webster. Webby coming through, seeing off Mervyn King with a very impressive display. Average of around about 99.5 at a 6-2 victory yesterday. His finishing was excellent. And if he can produce that sort of performance here against M.Smith, he has every chance of making it through, despite M.Smith's superb pedigree on the European Tour, because it is fair to say things have not been going M.Smith's way. Certainly not as much as he would like over the last 2, 3, 4 months, maybe even the year, despite a run to the final in Austria and another semi-final on the Euro Tour. Dan Dawson in the commentary box for this one, and Rob Malarkey has stepped in for Paul Nicholson.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about M.Smith.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg is marked through first. Game on.
Yeah, thanks.
Lost in the first round at the World Grand Prix against Alan Norris. Failed to get beyond the last 16 of any of the 5 most recent Players' Championship events. Just one quarter-final this year as well, I think, in the Players' Championship. And nothing more than a quarter-final in the last 4 European Tour events. This is a lean spell for M.Smith. He needs a big weekend, I think.
By his own high standards, yes, certainly. I mean, he does seem to save his best for the Euro Tour stages. You know, he's won 3, obviously, but then he had that run to the final in Austria, albeit a little bit fortuitous in some of those games. Nigel Hayden, Mark Frost could have both beaten him. But he got there. Ended up losing to Phil Taylor.
But he is now down to 13th on the current Pro Tour order of merit. He's seeded 6 here because of the cut-off point that applied earlier on.
Yeah, and that money that he's won, it's coming off, and it does put a different kind of pressure. He says he doesn't look at that sort of stuff, just goes up there and plays his darts. But more importantly, he is concerned about his own darts. He's talked to me about it and said, you know, I'll come and watch me practice. I'll smash that practice board up. Silly averages, 110, 115. But
Webster here, look at this. Down to 81 after 9 darts.
He's looking at the treble 14 there, but yeah, that's 41. Fine. Leaving double top. Smith way back. There's a flyer. There's no use to him. Not down to a finish. So Mark Webster all the time in the world to see this off.
Well, 20.
Was on course for a potential 11 dart leg. He's now on a 16 at least.
100. Mark, you require 20.
Double 10. These left-handers love double 10.
Game shot on the first leg.
In the middle of it.
Mark Webster. Second leg is Michael through first. Game on.
Yeah, he raced into a 5-0 lead yesterday against Mervyn King in that 6-2 win. His average at the time was 105 after that 5th leg, but then of course
59.
King forced a couple back and the average dipped just to below 100, 99.48. The 3rd highest average of the day, though, yesterday. Nobody could match Steve West yesterday. And Webster again in the money here.
40. $100.
Just the 2 previous appearances in Europe this year for Mark Webster. His best run was in Venray. I say a run. He managed to win 1 match. He beat Jermaine Watermain 6-2 before losing to Van der Pas.
81.
So he's matched that here.
Yeah, and it does mean that he's got to go and make the final if he is going to make the European Championship. simple equation for him. He doesn't have to be looking over his shoulder or worrying about any other results. He knows he's just got to keep winning. Gets the final, he'll be there.
Yeah, that particular picture is looking much clearer now than it was before. Kevin Painter unable to book his place in the third round. He can kiss goodbye to any hopes of making it to Hasselt at the end of next month, or at the end of this month, I should say.
100.
Yeah, Robbie Green's got to beat MVG. He's going to get there.
Jamie Caban hanging on by his fingernails here.
Yes,
I think, well,
his mate Ian White did him a favour, but by beating Kevin Painter, but it was very, very narrow. Ooh, that's a loose dart from Webster means it will cost him a dart at the double when he returns, and he will return.
41. Mark, you require 59.
It's all a bit lackadaisical from Michael Smith. I know he's a player who is very relaxed. It just looks like he's not putting any effort in at all when he's throwing his darts, but the actual darts where they're going are resembling a man who's doing that.
Game shot of the second
And Webster
leg.
takes full
Webster.
advantage.
Third leg is Mark to throw first.
Yeah, little wonder Michael Smith is scratching his recently shorn head.
Game on.
Yeah, from the front on, he looks like one of those midget gem biscuits. Not underestimate him, though.
100.
He can just catch light. Just go absolutely berserk on that treble 20.
100.
I wish the head of PDC Europe would not tickle you as he walks past. That was outrageous. I didn't know what was going on there. Werner von Molk has arrived.
137.
He is in the building.
It's more like it, Michael. Much more like it.
80.
Now, can he build on this? Just needs a shot in the arm from somewhere. That might be it. A break back straight away would do him the world of good. Webster, though, is down to a finish first, but it's a very big one. And Smith is applying even more pressure here.
140.
Just finding a bit of rhythm and a bit of groove.
Yeah, ton 80, ton 40 to leave 81. Potentially 11 darter coming in. The 164 is not going to go, so Smith will get a go at this 81.
Just double checking exactly where he is.
124.
Well, he couldn't do much more than that apart from take it out. Double 12. Oh, what a that. Look at that.
Michael Smith.
180, 140, 81 in 2 darts, 11 darter.
Game on.
It's the quality we're dealing with here. To break back, Smith throwing to level the match now.
Yep, the 11 dart break of throw. That was seamless from Michael Smith. That's more like it from Bully Boy. Doesn't have a great record against 93. Mark Webster. They played earlier this year as well in a UK Open qualifier and a quarter-final. Webster won that one 6-4, and that was the score when they met at the World Series finals at the end of last November.
137.
Yeah, that's when Mark Webster was really in a sort of purple patch. He had struggled for a long time, and then the back end of last year really came good. Obviously
58.
Had that run in the World Grand Prix.
Yeah, the semis there, yeah.
And then he just started winning games again. He'd found a way to work with the coach that he's got to address the issues in his throw, and he started the year in much the same vein. He obviously beat Michael Smith to make the semi-finals of one of those UK Open qualifiers. He actually made another semi-final during those 6 UK Open qualifier events, 4 quarter-finals since then, including one at the UK Open, one of the big events. And, you know, it's not been as good in the second half of the year.
121.
But he's shown, when I think he probably had some doubts himself, that he is able to be competitive at the top level.
140.
Michael Smith trying to find a 180 to leave himself double 15 there.
Again, another loose final dart from Mark Webster. He was on 110. Only found the one. And I think he was harbouring quite a realistic hope of breaking back or breaking once again here. Top stay for Smith to level it up.
50.
Well, there you see the reaction, the shrug of the shoulders. And Webster now has a opportunity once more for another break of throw and a chance to re-establish this 2-leg lead. And he takes it out for the first time of asking. A 13-dart break of throw for Webster.
Game on.
And you have to say, this is a very strong start from Mark Webster in a very similar manner as his game against Mervyn King.
Yeah.
I mean, what, he was 105 average when he was 5-0 up
93.
against Mervyn. He's 3-1 up here, so he's had one fewer leg.
And his average
but he's
is
averaging
almost
nearly
the same.
105.
Yeah.
And that first 9 average is significantly
57.
better than Michael Smith, by virtue of the fact he's at 5 140+ scores.
Yeah, he's putting the pressure on from the word go, and he's giving Michael Smith plenty to do. Winner of this, by the way, faces Terry Jenkins in the
93.
3rd round tomorrow. Jenks coming through against his good mate Andy Smith earlier on today. The Pie Man is no more this weekend.
83.
6-5.
Yeah, battled back in that one, did the Pie Man, and then just had a poor last leg, and Jenkins closed it out. He's done so many times before. Mark Webster with his first maximum.
Yeah, that'll do his average the world of good as well.
Oh, well,
60.
that's 60 there with Michael Smith. Just, I mean, it's almost as if he couldn't be bothered to throw at the bottom half of the board. He's made that so hard for himself, and he's still chucked the 3rd dart into the treble 20, or trying to.
Yeah, and there he is standing at the back of the
95.
stage, shaking his head. Well, architect of his own downfall here, Michael Smith, you have to say, in this leg.
140.
Okay,
Might
he's
require
got down to a
40.
finish now, but Webster with 3 darts at tops for a 4-1 lead, and Michael Smith is in a big, big hole here.
Game shot of the 5th leg. Mark Webster.
And for the 2nd leg running,
6
Mark
legs Michael
Webster
through first.
hits double
Game
top
on.
for a checkout of 40 for a 13 darter. And if you keep doing that, your average is going to be very, very
100.
healthy. We're talking in the 110s if you keep doing 13 darters.
Yeah, Steve West is looking over his shoulder here.
But we saw against Mervyn King that after 5 legs of
134.
similar brilliance from
He just
Webby,
opened the door a bit, didn't he? And King came back
foot
in.
came off the gas.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, and he can't afford to do that because
136.
although Michael Smith has not ignited, he is quite capable of doing so.
But he's running out of legs here in which to reignite. Keep an eye
100.
on that average stat.
102.5 average from Dave Chisnell to start
133.
things off this evening. Mark Webster is doing better than that right now, but there is still a couple of legs that stand between him and a place in the final day of action. First time he would have made the final day of a European Tour
97.
event this year.
Michael Carr,
Well,
132.
that final dart gets him down to a finish of 170. But Smith is looking at 107 here. That would have left the bullseye, but he didn't take it out.
92.
So Webster with a
Michael
chance
Carr,
to pull off the big
170.
one here.
Well, Paul Nicholson says we're going to see a 170 tonight.
Paul Nicholson says lots of things. He's been calling the 9 darter for about 3 months.
130. Michael requires
Well, once again,
40.
Webster leaves tops after 12 darts,
Game
but
shot on the
Michael
6th
Smith
leg.
gets the first
Michael
poke at
Smith,
it and
7
hits him
legs marked to throw
with a
first.
13 darter on
Game
tops
on.
of his own. So
I didn't hear Mark Webster, sorry, I didn't hear Paul Nicholson talking up Robert Allenstein in the way that I did yesterday.
well, yeah, you're clinging on to that one, aren't you?
And by the way, I did sort of have a look at Webster today and think he was, well, I just thought the betting was a bit lopsided for this one as well. He was 5-4 or thereabouts outsider.
Well, it is not one yet.
It is not one yet.
95.
There is no payout counter being opened just yet.
But the last 3 legs, Webster has left tops after 13 darts. In 2 of them, he's taken it out. The other one, he was left waiting to go to the board because the bully boy took out tops for a 13 darter. So
42.
look, the standard is phenomenal from Mark Webster. He's averaging about 109. Michael Smith's average has just been creeping up,
96.
though. So he's around the 97 mark. He is not playing dreadfully. He is just getting, well, both barrels from the Welshman.
There is an argument as well that Webster will tail off or could tail off, and, well, he's tailing off here.
61.
And he's recovered it to an extent with that treble 19. Just maintaining that power
100.
scoring is difficult to do for 7, 8, 9, 10 legs.
30.
Radar's just gone awry for Mark Webster in the last couple of visits.
Certainly has, and Smith will have a good opportunity to break here if he can post a big
100.
one. Okay, he's got the ton down to 110. Webster needs to respond here with something healthy just to give Smith some reminders.
And just see the throw isn't quite as smooth as it was
83.
earlier, is it?
Michael require 110.
90 left.
Oh, he's got it. Tops.
70. Might require
You
145.
suspect he might be back, Michael Smith, for the break of throw to trim the deficit. Webster, again, errant darts here.
Well, in the space of this leg, Mark Webster's average has plummeted from nearly 110
77.
to
Michael
round about the
require
100
40.
mark, and it's because he keeps finding the ones and the fives and the treble ones.
Smith is
20.
normally fairly reliable on tops,
Michael require 68.
but those 3 darts were way off beam.
But despite being all over the shop at times in this leg, Mark Webster, he might be about to go 5-2 up, double 10. Double 10, bang in the middle, and somehow Mark Webster has won that leg. He is one leg away, and Michael Smith is on the brink.
Missed darts at tops for Smith, punished by Webster with a very neat and tidy 68 checkout.
97.
2 darts in hand, or 2 darts required, I should say. And that's just given Webster his mojo
97.
back here, because he was losing his way. Okay, it's a 20-dart leg, but that's an important leg for Webster, because Smith was just showing signs of life
58.
there. Webster looked to be going off the rails slightly, but he somehow won that 7th leg. And he is now 1 leg away from a place in the last 16 for the first time this year on the European Tour.
100.
And you can see it with Webster. His throw, as the games go on, it just seems that the throw gets less
90.
fluent, and yet he can still find the targets. He just has to keep his cool. And I think it's absolutely incredible the way he's learnt to manage it and still throw with such accuracy,
140.
despite the fact you can see that he is struggling with it. I think it's testament to how he's trained himself to do it, but also just the mental character and strength that he's shown.
85.
It is a
Michael require
phenomenal display from Mark
164.
Webster to continue to win games, when as the longer they go on, it seems to get harder for him to actually throw the dart.
That visit of 85 for Smith just about sums up his night. He's left himself 171.
60.
So Webster will have 3 darts from 104 for a 6-2 win.
91.
And a meeting with
Michael
the Bull
require
tomorrow.
104.
So here we go, Mark Webster, 104. What have you got? There we go, 44 remaining. Tops for the match. Mark Webster, 6-2.
84.
Not to
Michael
be.
require 80.
Well, Smith needs this, you feel.
Oh dear. Bullseye.
55.
Misses it.
Michael
Should have had a dart at a
require
double.
20.
Only got a dart at the bullseye. Mark Webster comes back looking at double 10. He has already hit it a couple of times in this match. Now he has to look at double 5. Oh, my word. It is 3 match
No
darts
score.
missed by
Michael
Mark
requires
Webster.
25.
It is a lifeline for Michael Smith. Double 10. Still double 10. Misses
50.
inside, and, well, Webby comes
requires
back, and once
20.
again he will look at double 10. He has won every single leg he's won on tops and 10s. Can he close it out on the little red bit? He's getting closer.
10 score.
My word.
Michael require 10.
6 match darts missed by
He's
Mark
shown the
Webster,
A flag.
and Michael Smith
Smith.
gets the hold of
Nice
throw.
lady, smart to
He
throw
still
first.
has a mountain
Come
to
on.
climb.
But it's a big step in the right direction for Michael Smith. He's been given a chance here. But Webster, well, it's okay rattling in 180s at this stage of the leg. He needs to see it out.
140.
And just not convincing on the doubles at all there in that previous leg.
57.
And once again, Webster is out of the blocks quicker here, just as he was earlier in the match.
Well, Michael Smith is one of the biggest scorers in the game when he gets going, and he's been comprehensively outscored by the man from Denby.
100.
That average, by the way, for Webster has been absolutely slaughtered.
I mean, he's still
By
averaging
58.
97, and had he been averaging 97 right the way through this game, you say it's
We
a
would have
solid
said-
display.
we'd have said
But
okay.
it was a phenomenal display early doors. mean, it doesn't help if you go and miss 6 darts in the previous leg for the match.
No.
57.
And take those 6 darts away, he's 5 out of 9. It's good. That's good. It's very good.
Smith there saying almost, why couldn't I do this earlier? Just had that metronomic rhythm about him there, did Michael Smith. We've seen that plenty of times before from him. Once again,
40.
Webster just losing his way at the most inopportune moment here. Smith again here in the money once more.
100.
Well, just a ton, but he's down to 106. Webster has the big one.
Yes, stays there for the bullseye. Oh, unable to do it, and it just seemed to skew off. Might call the flight, or
92.
difficult to tell exactly how that dart moved. Michael Smith needs to take out the ton plus. 86 left. Doesn't get the treble 18 he needed. Webster will look
54.
at 72.
Might require 72.
Look at the 16s here, I would think.
And he's got it. Double 12 for Mark Webster, and a place in the last 16, and this time there is no mistake from the Welshman. He'll be breathing a massive sigh of relief. 6 match darts missed in that 8th leg, but no problem whatsoever in the 9th. Michael Smith beaten once again in the early stages of a European Tour event, and having seen off Mervyn King yesterday, Webster's now seen off the bully boy as well. He goes through to the last 16 tomorrow, and who knows, maybe he will qualify for the European Championship after all. Stranger things have happened. Michael Smith, it's the end of the road for him. We'll hear from Webster now. Just a quick word, a reminder also that on the way next on the stage here in Hildesheim, we've got Joe Cullen against the sole-surviving German, Robert Allenstein.
I just got really nervous sort of at the 4-2 stage. I don't think I played very fluent from then on. I know Michael's struggling. I feel sorry for him to a point. He's going through what I did a few years ago. He's got in the Premier League. He's not had a good campaign, and he's struggling. So I need to take advantage of that. But I knew I didn't want to let him any chance. Just got a bit nervous and twitchy. He's one of them. But I won the game. You know, last night I played great and won. Tonight you've got to learn to win when you're not playing well, and I've done that, thankfully.
When did actually everything start? When did you start playing darts? When did you realize, oh, I'm better than the others?
I started playing when I was 18 for the sole reason that my league, I played a little bit before, my league doesn't let players in until they're 18. They've relaxed that now, but you know, I've been playing, I'm 33 now, so I've been playing for, was that 15 years? So I'm an old man now, I'm a veteran, but I've been playing a while now, a bit of experience. I think that helped me there.
See you tomorrow again. Thank you very much. Mark Webster.